Hey, what's up? It's Rashad Antonio, MCU Collective, on another glorious Wednesday, man. On Disney Plus, of course, X-Men 97, Episode 8, Tolerance is Extinction, Part 1 of a three-part finale, which seems like a very, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for here? It seems like a lofty task, but it seems like an easy job right now for the crew because once again, we have an episode that is so compact and so tightly done. Everything you need is in it. You feel what I'm saying? Like I don't like the amount of storytelling that they're doing in let's say 25 minutes at a time.
Bruh,
It's it's like a
bruh.
master class. Before we even get started, I just have to say something about that because a lot of time we think that something has to be drawn out and we got to explain all the characters motivations, and I think this is kind of the thing where stuff is either like rebooted or reimagined,
Mhm.
and we got to start from scratch. They was like, nah, we're gonna trust the audience that either a they're gonna go back and watch the original series, or B, they're gonna watch this and fill in the blanks on their own.
First thing, you see cameos in this thing. You
So,
have a cameo from Spider-Man, from the Spider-Man animated series. Now, that is a major thing because Spider-Man made a semi cameo in the X-Men series back in the day,
he
but
did,
because of like copyright licenses and stuff like that, they didn't really show. You saw like the hand and the webs come out, and you're like, "Oh, that's Spider-Man," but they didn't say that was Spider-Man or whatever. You actually see Spider-Man pop up there. On top of Spider-Man, we see the person that may be taking over as the big bad in the actual live MCU. You see Doctor Doom in this on
which
top of
was
Doctor.
very
Why?
surprising.
I was like, wait a minute. I had rewinded for a second and be like, oh, he's actually talking to this? Okay, cool. We see our favorite terrorist from the MCU, Baron Zemo.
Yeah,
Man, this, and what's crazy, Rashad? It didn't even feel like it was 25 minutes. That's the thing. It felt like it was a little bit longer, but I felt satisfied. It's like you get that meal and you've been hungry all day and you like, man, I'm about to get me 3 portions, 2 portions, or whatever that's in there cooking. But you just get enough to get you satisfied, and you like, yeah, I'm
yeah, I'm
good. This
good.
is what
I'm good.
this episode gave me satisfaction along with that. Go ahead. What you got to say, man?
Nothing. You good?
Okay. Um, so let's get into this episode. So we kind of pick up a little bit after what happened in last episode. The UN, the United Nations reveals that to the world, Charles Xavier is alive. So if you
Yo.
saw last episode, Bastion, he intercepted the Shi'ar broadcast of, and I mean, good God, they went. I don't want to say this, man. I don't, but I have no other way to put it. They went full blown conservative U.S. super right. What right is it? Right wing, left wing? I
Yeah,
forget.
right.
Yeah,
Right
right
Republican,
wing.
left liberal. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, right. Super conservative right wing Republican on Charles. Why did X-Men lie? Charles Xavier's out here gallivanting across the universe, and he might bring an alien army to the to our door. I see it. I see
Yeah.
the fear mongering. The
It's
fear,
it's it's is
the
real.
fear
Like, and
mongering was
I can
so real.
appreciate
Instead
that
of
because it's real
right,
life. That's how we really
right,
doing it out here.
instead of I wouldn't even say normal people because that happens in real life. What's going on? Being like, hey, apparently Charles Xavier's still alive. Let's get some answers on what the heck is going. No, they went into full blown defense. You got people. You got the entire the anti mutant people snapping like, yo, death to muties and blah 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 this and that. And is just breaking out all across the United States. So Cable is at the X Mansion, and he's talking about. He explains to them who the information that he has on Bastion. He was like, "Hey man, this dude has basically created a brand new Sentinel, an evolution of Sentinels." He says going from Master Mode to Nimrod to now techno organic, Sentinels, turning humans into say. He says basically he's infecting these people with the what is it? He's
The
infecting
techno
them
organic
with the
virus, yeah.
techno virus that I have, but I got cured or whatever. He says he's infecting these people with this. And he started. He's been doing this for 300 years. This has been a 300-year thing of him trying to
Yo,
get
like
different.
I just want to talk about how
Uh,
just want to talk about how Bowden Mayo really understands the source material when it comes to this. It's
mm-hmm,
when I source material as in just the X-Men animated series. So
mm-hmm,
this episode, especially on Bastion's origin story, ties back into a storyline from like season 2 or so.
two. Yeah, thanks. Season
Season
two. Yeah.
2. Yeah, and I'm like, he just did a really good job. Let me go back. Let me go back to that. I forgot. Oh, yeah, season the One Man's Worth. One
Mm-hmm,
Man's Worth. So
mm-hmm,
they did like, and again, I know this is like they hate this term, but it's used all the time. They did some retroactive continuity, aka retconning,
mm-hmm,
for Bastion, and essentially his the place where they killed Bastion, his dad was a janitor,
mm-hmm.
and I'm sorry, they killed Nimrod. Nimrod
Nimrod.
can't die,
Yeah.
so they thought they killed Nimrod. So a piece of Nimrod went into this man that was there. All right,
Mm-hmm,
this man has a wife.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, they end up having a baby. So
Hippity
this,
dippity.
it's a yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm,
So they end up having this baby, right? And this baby ends up becoming Bastion. And
mm-hmm,
because it's essentially a hybrid slash Nimrod, and they called him a mutant, you know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
Mutant humanoid type, amalgamation.
mm-hmm,
This kid is having visions of things that have already happened because we already
mm-hmm,
know Nimrod is a time traveler. So he's
mm-hmm,
literally seeing the futures of Nimrod, and he's cataloging it as like these pictures that he's drawing.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? Which is very kind of like the little girl from Godzilla Kong. But anyway, this is so we're seeing like him doing this, and the entire time, like his mom's like, "Oh man, you just a special boy." You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up realizing along the way, because they didn't really show us all that, but along the way, he realizes who and what he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we have this Bastion character who's been in the
Mm-hmm.
background, as we were shown last episode, the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's worked his way up into the government and got the
Mm-hmm.
Sentinel program like back in high gear after they deaded it under the new president.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony, I was like, I can I can buy that for the show because his
Mm-hmm.
comic book origin is convoluted as hell, which is most
Yeah.
comic book things. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah.
most of the times, well, oh, we should use social. I'm like, yo, like his it's a lot of back and
Yeah.
forth with his
Yeah,
comic
because
book origin.
his comic book origin is like he's a human, but has parts of Nimrod and Master Mold in it. But they kind of just made it seem like, well, Nimrod is an advanced version of Master Mold, you know what I'm saying, of Master Mold from the future. So they just kept it as Nimrod. And I like how they basically was, because even Beast has said it was like Sentinels reproducing. Oh my god, you know, say oh my god, just thinking about that, because that was the plan that Cable was talking about. So yeah, Bastion is a diabolical ass dude, man, for real, for the stuff that he does later on in this episode, and we'll talk about that. So Cable is, Cable is dealing with that, and then he's dealing, of course, with daddy issues with Cyclops or whatever, because it's like you. He was like, "Hey man, we need this." He's just like, "Oh, great. Oh, I thought all these years you want to do something there." I'm like, "Come on, bro, don't do that." Apparently, Madeline Pryor is dead. Apparently, they from
Yeah,
what they made,
that's
they
what they're trying to intimate. You know what I'm saying?
she's dead. We'll put that in quotation marks, that she's dead from the attack on Genosha, because Jean Grey is basically, who was she talking to when she said, was it Nightcrawler? When she was talking to Nightcrawler when they was checking on Rogue, she was saying how, like, I wish that me and Madeline I would have reached out to her more with our psychic bond, more, what I'm saying, more. But she passed away. But it's like I have all her memories, like I know. And she was saying like she felt like Cable, aka Nate Summers, was her child too, because she says I have memories and I have those feelings of, what I'm saying, carrying that child, and the message that she gave, or what she gave or whatever. And you can see kind of later on episodes, she kind of becomes a surrogate mother or a
Definitely.
stepmother to Cable. And Cable is explaining like, yo, this Geonosis, I'm time traveling, whatever. And Wolverine snaps like, yo, you could have stopped this or whatever. And he's just like, man, do you know how many times I've tried to stop this? Do you know? He says, like, every time I get to this point, something happens, and I get slipstream right back into, what I'm saying, back to my own time. They ask where Bishop is. He says, hey, I lost him in the time travel, so I don't know where he's at. And then Beast brings up a topic that we've heard before in the good old MCU, and especially the animated MCU. He was like, this must be an absolute point, maybe.
Yeah, which I was very,
And then
very
he said, he
glad they
said, he
brought
said
up.
the mystics of Karmatage too. On top of that, he brought that up. And I said, bravo, bravo,
I said, thanks, man.
bravo.
Thanks for putting it in there. Just for the people who watch the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it is. I said, okay, they actually trying to, and it's simple to me. It simplifies things because this is where I'll be honest, like phase four was a bit of a mess because they introduced like the huge concept, but they didn't streamline how it was explained. And then it was getting explained several different ways by several different creators. So there wasn't one like, uniform way to
Yeah.
talk about it. Because Tony, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because we got to look at this show as a timeline show. And we have writers who write for a living, who get paid to do writing, still talking about this as a multiversal thing. I'm like, ain't no multiverse to this. This is a timeline centric story. So I need them to, like, again, understand the difference. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, they figure out that they follow a lead from the future, that Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Cable, they travel to Harmony, Pennsylvania, because they say, hey, we think that's where a Sentinel factory is, or whatever. So they start to travel. In the meantime, you have Bastion at his hold fast or whatever, his headquarters, and he's there, and he meets with members of the UN's Operation Zero Tolerance, which goes to show you there are members of the UN who are part of Operation Zero Tolerance. And we see that because Dr. Cooper from the UN, the blonde hair lady with glasses, is right there, and she's wearing a Nimrod-esque uniform, it looked like. So she
Yeah,
knew
it's
about
like
this.
Team Nimrod. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. Like Team Rocket from Pokemon, but Team Nimrod or something like that. And it is so weird, because it's like she's like chastising him, like, hey, yo, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I understand what you were trying to do, but we weren't supposed to do that. And he's just like Nimrod's not Nimrod. Bastion's like, hey yo, relax, lady. Look, I'm putting us back at the top of the evolutionary food chain or whatever because apparently in one divisions in the future, like 300 some odd years in the future, this man Bastion has made a utopia where
Uh-huh.
humans have powers and stuff now, but mutants are basically slaves. They build the new utopia off the backs of mutants, quite like America with slaves, black slaves, but that's neither here nor
It parallels. Good Tony.
parallels.
So that
Uh-huh.
whole scene right you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
before Bastion comes in, there in the midst of a through a beaker, because this is a lab. You
Mm-hmm.
see your boy Magneto strung up in some black drawers, like he's about to do his best shipping down. Like this old man is ripped. You know what I'm saying?
Rip. And they
Like,
got him borderline crucified, like chain on an
yeah, yeah,
X
yeah,
on
yeah,
top of that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was looking, I was like, Magneto diesel as hell. this thing
Yeah,
this
your
what
man was not
this
skipping
what
gym day at all,
70,
yo.
80, this 70 some odd year old man is making the young boys look stupid out here.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
see why he be trying to be a borderline pedophile. But anyway,
Right.
um, that scene is also important because we see two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, we see they show his marking, his numbers from the Holocaust, right?
Mm-hmm.
After that, also make a Nazi reference to Dr. Manigo. Manigo was a person who was doing experimentations, just
Yeah.
like Sinister. Sinister was like, yo, yeah, he was a Nazi pup. Me, I'm trying to do the real
Yeah.
work. Because in real
Yeah.
life, he also was doing experiments on actual people, which is the
Mm-hmm.
parallel. And Sinister is like, man, I don't care about Bastion.
Right. He says, I
I'm
just
just
want these
trying to,
mutants
I just need
to
some
do.
mutants for me because
Mm-hmm.
I need subjects and he's giving me hella subjects to play with. That's really it. And then after that,
Mm-hmm.
and we get to the scene with the UN and he lays down his whole plan to Cooper. And Cooper is
Mm-hmm.
starting to get a change of heart. You can tell she's starting to get soft because when she was there, you saw the terror on her face. She was like, dog, I did not know you was gonna unleash this three-headed monster of a daggone sentinel making baby sentinels all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did not know that. And he was like,
Right.
man, I told you what I was going to do. I told the UN
Mm-hmm.
as well. And I was like, y'all was all down with it. Now why you mad
Right.
now? And yeah, it's
And then on top,
diabolical.
right. And then on top of that, he shows on the other part of his plan, like, humans getting powers. He has where they basically are just picking humans up off the street. Not even, this is going to sound horrible, and I don't mean this. Not even like homeless, because you always hear about homeless people being experimental. Not even homeless, like regular people in neighborhoods and stuff, and basically like turning them, dipping them into that virus, turn them into prime sentinels, like Trash was, who by the way is now like locked up at the X Mansion as they're running tests on him,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Don't these you're doing this without their consent?" He was like, "They won't even know they here." He's
So
like, "They
yo,
not even
they
go.
gonna forget all about this, big dog.
They gonna
I
forget
got you covered.
all about it. Yeah, we gonna forget all about this." So in the meantime, at the X Mansion, Beast, like I said, he's trying to running experiments on Trash that they took out, and who comes in there? The reporter chick, I forget her name for whatever, but the woman that Beast had a relationship with previously, and they're talking, and she's coming in to amends for what she said and the whole tolerance thing or whatever, and Beast is talking to her like, yeah, it is what it is, whatever, cool. Meanwhile, Cable, Jean Grey, and Cyclops make it to Pennsylvania, and they get to a house, and he like, since Cable said, this don't look like no Sentinel factory like I know of in the future and stuff like that. And it was like, and Jean Grey is just scanning, and she's like, wait a minute, no, this ain't no Sentinel factory. She's like, yo, this is his childhood home.
Tony, why every X-Man, like in every movie or this TV show, like when they go to a residential area, it just looks the same. Like that
Trash. Yeah.
that don't look like the outside of where hold up. Is that the same place where a couple of episodes ago
where Trash was
where
running from Sinister?
yeah, is that the
Yeah,
same
I think
location?
so. I
Yeah.
think it is. I think that town looks horrible or
Yeah.
whatever. And they go in there, and who did they see? They see Bastion's mama, and she's like, "Oh, my son said y'all would come tomorrow night, but you're here now. Let's go ahead and go." And they was like, "All right, she's I'm gonna go upstairs and get my stuff." They're like, "Yeah, you go ahead and do that." Hey, let's just play along and see
Along
what
with
goes
this
on.
senile
This
old
right
lady.
here. See, and so all they see is a bunch of pictures and stuff of what Bastion and drew, and then they they kind of do the montage of how Bastion became Bastion, or whatnot. And then this is when all hell breaks loose on this episode right here, if I'm not mistaken, Rashad. If I'm about right here.
You're right.
She says they go in Bastion's room and they see like this one massive picture where it's like a giant sentinel stand over like the bodies of X-Men. Like it's Beast, it's actual them.
You
And
see
then
Angel in that joint.
Angel, right? His mom comes in there and said, "Oh yeah, that's his masterwork that's about to go to play." And she starts tweaking and pop locking like she's an electric boogaloo or something like that. And she pops up and she turns into and her eyes light up yellow. And she's like one of those sentinel things. And you was like, "Yo, what is going on here?" And then she basically attacks him. And then all of a sudden, because in the meantime, Beast was running tests to find out how many more people were like Trask out there they could. It showed all these people in the country. He said his line, "Oh, my stars and garters." And the next thing you know, he said, "I gotta let them know his homegirl is one."
Sylvie.
And they're like,
yeah, her name is Sylvie.
Sylvie is one. And you like, yo, what is going on? In the meantime, we left something out to happen, a little small side story. Jubilee has been hanging with Sunspot with his mom and stuff or whatever. And his mom she's just like, don't care as long as he's not out with it. And she's like, hey, and she's like, I'm having a relief benefit banquet for Genosha, blah, 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 this and that. And like Jubilee is like disgusted because she's like, yeah, you're doing all this stuff, but your son's a mutant. You got like you don't care. And he's like, what? And she's like, you know what? Well, two things we got going for me. She said, you got a trust fund and I got a sense of fashion. We going to the mall. And this kind of flashes back to the very first episode of 92 X-Men where Jubilee got attacked by Sentinels in the mall. So they're in the mall changing clothes and stuff, and like their butler, he starts to tweak and come to find out he's one of these Sentinel hybrid things too, and he's attacking, and they're trying to get away, and like, you just start seeing all these people in the mall turn to that. Meanwhile, back in Pennsylvania, the Summers crew, they take it, they find out that this dude Bastion turned his whole town into these Sentinel hybrid, and they are chasing
everybody. It's so many of them.
And then like even ones that are out near the X mansion, they decide to attack the X mansion. And at first I said, yo, Wolverine is committing murder because these are still like people or whatever. Guess what? It didn't matter because he was like dismembering them, taking limbs off and stuff, but they just putting stuff back on. And then you finally see Nightcrawler show that, hey, yo, he about that life. Funny, he said Wolverine came out there because they was about to get Rogue and she's still like in a coma. And then she was like, why do you keep fighting? And he pulled out his blade and said, yo, I got 6 reasons. And the Nightcrawler said, nah, my boy. We got 9 reasons. My man has 2 swords in his hand and one on his tail. They started wrecking shop. Like, Wolverine like cut, run, and but they put themselves back together. And I mean, it's just a complete like free for all where you're seeing all these like, the mutants. You see the X-Men getting attacked at different locations. Then you see where like Jubilee is trying to run. And she jumps, thinking she's like, man, why I gotta be the only one who know how to fly? And she jumps, and who saves her? Old Sunspot. He finally got his whole body in the color. And she like, you know how to fly too? He said, hey, I've been practicing in the danger room, baby. I got you, but I don't know how to steer. And so they're flying, and then what happens? They finally crash into his mother's, he crashed into his mother's benefit party. and she's looking horrified, like, and then she's like, what do you do? He was like, yo, these men trying to kill us. And this is the part right here where I was like, your mother and her friends are idiots if she believes, like, they're running for their lives. This is some they gonna put the weapons, the hands down. Oh, we're not here. We're here to be friends to mutants. We're here to help mutants. What? And their mother, it shows how trash she is. You should go ahead and listen to the men and go with them. So you see Jubilee and Sunspot get captured. Meantime, in Pennsylvania, the Summers family are just, wrecking shop on everybody. It's funny because Jean Grey was like, yeah, y'all the ones to tell Beast. This is the third Blackbird that Beast had to rebuild in a month or whatever. And it's cool because it's like you see Cyclops and Cable start to get along because they escaped the Blackbird through a Porsche. Cable's like, got a Porsche, man? And he was like, yeah. And then it was like, let's show them what the Summers family is all about. That was a little corny, but it was still funny when you see Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Cable basically like wreck shop, get through, but they still surrounded. And they're still surrounded. So then finally, Bastion pulls up. He pulls up to the daggone X Mansion, and his little, they ever say who the little black bald headed assistant?
I don't know.
Fake ass Dora Milaje looking chick. Oh, your plan is coming to play. He was like, yes, it has. And he's bragging. The Sinister pops up with a little hologram thing, like, hey, yo, your girl let Magneto go or whatever. Because Magneto, she had a moment with Magneto because she was like, you haven't spoke. He says you haven't spoke since Genosha. She's like, talk to me, say something. She's like, look, I didn't know this was gonna happen. Please talk to me. And he finally opened his eyes or whatever. So we don't know if he said anything, but she did notice, and she kept staring at the Nazi, the concentration camp numbers that he had on him from being a part of that. So Sinister's like, yo, your girl let the dude go or whatever. And he's like, I kind of figured this was gonna happen. So Bastion teleports back to the home base where Sinister has the chick, like, in chains and locked up. And you see Magneto had busted out. And then we see that what it means, Rashad, to be an Omega level mutant. This man Magneto flew to the North Pole in his silky drawers, by the way. He still got no clothes on. I just imagine, pause. I just imagine he had silk drawers on.
Yeah, and in his very small boxer briefs. You know what I'm saying?
Boxer briefs. And he said, enough. My man takes a magnetic electro pulse across the entire planet. I just want y'all, I'm gonna say that again for y'all. An electromagnetic pulse throughout the entire planet, and you see all those sentinels fall down, and then you see the aftermath at the X Mansion.
Hold on, before you even hold on, I gotta stop you right there. Before you see that, this is when you see Spider-Man. Then you see, it looks like the same like Japanese warrior that was with the whole
Silver Samurai or something that was in the Wolverine. That was in the Wolverine.
Yeah, and then you see Omega Red.
Omega, right? Because basically that EMP went through the whole planet and shut everything down. And for those of us that are fans, we know Omega Red has been contained by the Russian government because they're like, yo, this dude is out of control. He's kind of like almost like a Winter Soldier. They keep him in stasis, but they shut everything down. Omega Red is like, oh boy, your band's free to rumble there, whatever. So Wolverine is at the X Mansion, which is destroyed, by the way, with Beast, Rogue, and Morph. And he's like, yo, I can't believe Magneto actually did it. And he's like, what? Morph's like, what? He saved our butts? Nah, he declared war.
And
and then he was like, damn, This is when I wish Charles was here. I wish the professor was here to help us out. The next thing you know, there's a crash. Something falls out the sky, crashes
To the
into the
mansion.
mansion. Beast, not Beast. Wolverine's like, man, he walk up in there, pulls out his blades. His good old Charles Xavier crash landed in a Shi'ar Empire ship, and he's like, "No, this ain't about to happen." And he links up with him. Come to me, my X-Men. And you see Beast, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, and you see Storm.
Storm. End of episode.
To end of the episode, to quote one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite show of all time, The Wire. Charles Xavier basically said, "We back up." You know what I'm talking about, right, Rashad? Charles Xavier basically said, "Hey."
Oh man, that's so good.
He said, "Hey, y'all, we back up."
Hey, and
Shout
I
out
just
to aka
Stringer Bell, man, like also, you know what I'm saying, MCU characters as well. But yeah, man, like this episode was just, it was really, it was good, man. Like I can't like I just I can't really express just how happy I've been watching this. It's been a pleasure. Like it really has been.
It felt this episode. I know this is part one of a 3-part arc in a finale.
But you're
But this
right.
felt
I know
like
what you're about to say. I know what you're about to say.
what I was about to say.
This felt like this could have been the last episode of the season. And
Yes,
you'd have been
thank you.
happy.
Yes. It felt like it could have
I
been last episode of the
know.
season and been
And
like,
Charles would have been the cliffhanger for the next season. Now they was like,
yeah,
nah, we got
nah.
2 more bangers for you. 2 more.
Dude,
Two
I can't
more.
even imagine or fathom what is about to happen these next 2
I don't even
episodes,
want
man.
like
But
it's so good. I don't even want to speculate.
right,
I just want to aimlessly walk into whatever it is that they're going to be giving me, and I have been proven to be happy at every turn.
once again, they have done, and I think I said this last week and I've said it before, they have done with this show what I was hoping they would do because it's been 30 years since the OG, you know, the OG, not even 30 years, almost 20 some odd. Was it 30
Yeah, it's
some
about
years ago?
92, 92,
90,
02,
when did it end?
2012,
90?
2002. Let's say 22 years. 22.
22 years since this show went off the air the first time. And it was already critically acclaimed then. And for them to revive this show and to pick it up and not lose a beat, but actually maybe went a beat better.
Nah, this is an improvement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Went a beat better than the OG series. And that's no knock. I told you, OG series is like one of my favorite animated shows, period, of all time. To take 22 years to take this show in a property that so many people love. Like the X-Men are a property that so many people love, and some people have been downtrodden by it because of the films, the live action films that came out that really haven't lived up to what the X-Men are. It's only like maybe one or two.
And because ex head of Marvel Marvel TV, Ike Perlmutter, was like, nah, yo, y'all tell Marvel Comics that we not pushing X-Men no more because we not making no money off of it because we sold the rights to Fox. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of that going on. That's why they was trying to push Inhumans on us. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have like a special group of people anymore with the X-Men. So shout out to Ike Perlmutter. Is a racist piece of trash. But yeah, keep. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, it's just this was this was they've knocked it out the park, man. Every episode so far, and not I'm not. I don't even feel like I need to temper my expectations with the next two episodes because they haven't let me down yet. And like I said, they've stayed true to about 80% of the source material, but some of the additions that they added or some of the, as you said, retcons that they've done have been marvelous.
Yeah, man. That's where we are with this. We are waiting with bated breath for the penultimate episode. Cannot
Yeah.
wait. Make sure you catch us here tomorrow. We'll be recapping the last couple of episodes of the Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
Another banger as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I forgot what else comes out. I guess stuff coming up soon.
You know what's coming out this May the fourth be with you. My new
Oh
Tales of the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Empire
yeah, 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 yeah.
is
Tales of the
coming out
Empire.
this
That'll be
Friday or
next. Yeah,
maybe
Friday. It's Saturday.
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, we were probably talking about it next Monday. We ain't in no
Yeah,
rush. And then
yeah.
after that, we got I feel like there's a movie coming out
Is
soon
it
as well.
eight?
Yeah, that's May
Eight?
10th, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
May 10th. But yeah, so we probably will be covering that too. But yeah, that's all we got for this one, man. We appreciate y'all. Till next time.